I've been building out my new AI software business over the last few weeks, pretty much just doing everything from scratch, building out a template, vibe coding everything. I have the full structure, everything set up, everything is AI coded. I'm pretty much just monitoring, guiding it, implementing features, putting the full software stack together. I've created my own new AI software system that I'm using for my investments, trading, swing trading, and all of that over the last few weeks. So build out a full software system. I'm a very experienced developer. I put together the whole stack. Everything is coded with agentic coding, pretty much just to speed up the progress and also be able to implement all these features here within a month. I've also just been building out a template so I can reuse it for other use cases, because all the basic setup with front end, back end, deployment, CI/CD pipelines, all of that is pretty much just standard in every single software system out there. It's much more about applying your idea on top of that, so I can have like a ground system, a template that I can use, and then I can apply the actual value on top. So the whole idea behind this software system here, and we're just going to jump straight into the landing page, which is called Sentiment Edge, and it's at stocksentiment.io. It's pretty much just to find edges in the stock market for investing. On the long term, I'm a long-term investor with the investments and so on that I'm doing. So I'm pretty much just been thinking about all different ideas. How can I build software systems for myself, because I have been building out a template. Now I can start build out software systems for myself. And one of the most important points is that if I find it useful, there's definitely also someone else that's going to find it useful. So I've been building out my investing strategy, all these things here that I've been learning, I've been investing for at least probably like 8 years now. So I've pretty much just been developing my strategy over and over again, made all the stupid mistakes as you do when you're just getting started. You're not thinking long-term enough. You want to chase the high growth stocks and all that. You're not really finding opportunities. So this is pretty much what I've been building out. Let's just take a look at the landing page first, and then we're going to jump into the software system. Going to create a bunch of different videos so we can track the whole process, the journey that I'm on now, just creating all these different systems. Everything will be based on the same template that will be available in my AI career program. I will make it available in there so everyone can pretty much just take my full software stack, and then you just have to apply a few prompts, apply your own use cases to that template. Ground structure, where we have all the folder structure, the full deployment pipeline, how you host things and all that. So you just apply the business use case on top. So then you can pretty much just go from idea to product pretty fast. You could code it out yourself. Like if you're an experienced developer and so on, you can spend a few weeks, code it out in the exact same way as I did. It's just much faster to use out of the box, and now it's also possible for other people to get started. So this is my analysis tool, all-in-one stock sentiment analysis. The main thing is actually just finding disconnects in the market, finding opportunities around bad sentiment, because you can't really get any good deals, not only in the investment, in the stock market. It's pretty much all opportunities in life. You can't really get opportunities unless there is a disconnect and also fear around it and bad sentiment. So this is pretty much just the landing page. I'm just going to scroll through it. One of the most cool things here and what sets it apart is AI sentiment analysis. Not only just going in and asking Grok about one specific stock or something, or ChatGPT, it's actually like having web search capabilities. It has the X API, so you can go in and read all different posts on X for different stocks every single day. And the most important thing is, how do the trend change over time? One thing is to just get an image now for a single stock. You can just ask it for a specific stock. What's the sentiment around Tesla right now? It gives you a quick overview here now, but it doesn't give you an overview over 100 stocks or the whole market, but also how that sentiment, how are the trends changing over time, and how do you pretty much just map it to the fundamentals as well, because everything is down to the fundamentals and also valuations as well. You can buy great companies at huge, great valuations, and it might not be a good investment compared to buying like stocks with low sentiment. The fundamentals are improving. That's usually where the opportunities are. One of the coolest quotes ever by Warren Buffett, the best investor of all time: be greedy when others are fearful, and then be fearful when others are greedy. This is pretty much the most simple quote in the whole world, but it's the hardest to follow, because when you're going against the trend. You have to do something exceptionally. You're going against everyone else. Everyone's saying that this is the worst stock ever. It's gonna go bankrupt. It's gonna go down. There's so many problems with this stock, and you have to just look at it from the fundamental side. What do you believe in, and go against the trend. So this is pretty much the hardest thing in life, any aspect, and it's the exact same in trading and investment. That's why most people fail. So disconnect detection, it's going to tie all different things together. AI sentiment analysis, it goes out there, reads Reddit posts, all different news articles, X, a lot of X is also in there, then it merges everything together, comes up with a summary for each stock for each day, and then you can aggregate that at different levels in the hierarchy. So this is pretty much just my thought process that I'm covering in this video. So how do I think about it? What is the value that I can provide over other software systems? And how do I make it special that can't just be replicated by some AI model in the future? So it also has all integrations with all the stock data, fundamental data, valuation data and all that, but there's nothing special about that because there's so many other tools out there that has these specific things and probably does it better, but they don't have the AI aspect of it, they don't have the sentiment aspect of it, and also tying that to the fundamentals. And then you can come up with your own strategy. I build it around my strategy because it doesn't matter what happens, I can use this for my own investments, and I'm probably going to make the most money just purely based on my investments by using this tool, more than the money I'll make from any subscriptions. Even if 1,000 people were using this tool, I will still benefit more from it, pretty much just for my own personal advantage. Reading X posts, staying up to date with hundreds of stocks, finding new opportunities and all that, like that's more than a full-time job if you want to be the best at trading, at investments. Like you have to beat everyone else. Like you pretty much have to spend all your time on it. And this is one of the things that people miss out on. They think they're professionals, traders, investors after a few years, and it is the only profession where people think that they are acting like professionals without really having spent time on it or been in the market, been in the game for 10 years plus, and really just spending every single waking hour on it. You can compare it to like sports athletes. There's nobody in NBA, NFL, NHL, soccer, football, none of these sports here has any at the highest level players that started like 3 years ago. None of them. So we have pretty much just what you get here. We have a pretty nice UI, very nice style, goes in line with the landing page. Again, the template that I have in my AI Career program, both have the landing page, all the setup here for the UI and the app itself. All the use permissions, log in, log out, all the handling, Stripe integrations for payment. So you get a quick overview here, what we are getting, and then the 3 simple steps. We analyze sentiment, we find the gap, and you do the research. So this is more a research tool. This is not a recommendation. None of this is financial recommendations or anything. It's not buys, it's not sells, it's just guidance. So you can use it as a research tool together with all the other tools that you want to use in your system. I just really like this part. So you can go and see about the different features that you get. Even with the free version, you still get the top 5 best positions and the top 5 worst positions based on sentiment tied together with the fundamentals. Then you can get a bit more in the standard. The pro here, you pretty much just get everything, and everything is API based, built out so it can be integrated together with any system. So this is pretty much just the landing page. We can just sign in here and take a look at the platform. So now it's going to redirect me to the app. Everything is set up. I have the app.sentiment stocksentiment.io. This will also be available in template. We have dev.sentiment, stocksentiment.io. We have the CI/CD pipeline. Every time I push the main, it's going to deploy to this system. Every time I push to my dev branch, it's going to deploy to my dev environment. Everything is set up with Coolify. All these different tools are directly off the box. And all this is running on a Hetzner VPS. So it's pretty much just a server, hosted server for $5 a month. Then I have all the API calls, all the AI data, all the different APIs for the stock data. That's significantly more expensive compared to just a $5 app. But any use case out there, if you don't need any crazy expensive APIs that you need to use, like for example, stock market data, you can probably imagine how valuable that is, so how much it actually costs per month. But if you just have a quick idea, you want to spin up, you don't want really like too crazy third-party services, you can have all your ideas running on one Hetzner VPS. for $5, $5 to $10 a month, and you have everything running. So if you just take a look at it, here we can see some of the buy opportunities. This is some of the stocks that has crashed recently. We also have some sell signals on the right side. That could be that they have declining fundamentals. The sentiment can still be good, but they have declining fundamentals. Could also just be that the sentiment is very high. Again, you can have very high sentiment and it can still be a sell signal or a bad investment for the long term. Again, I'm investing for long term, 3 to 5 years out. I'm not going to buy anything that I can't hold for 3 to 5 years, and I'm just trying to make my risk reward ratio as good as possible. So if you already buy a stock that's down 50%, they have improvement fundamentals, then if it drops 10% more, 20% more, I'm more than happy to buy more stocks, because that's just going to pretty much just increase my risk reward ratio. So let's just take a look at one of them here. So this is just the dashboard where you can see the top ones. We have the market scanner. You can see the exact one as well, but you can also filter here based on the top and different sectors and technologies. As a stock analysis, if you click on any stock, it's going to do a full analysis where we can see all the details. We also have the AI chat. It's tied together with all the data. MCP servers is built around all the data sources that I have, all the endpoints, all the data sources that we have. The AI agent, AI here, has access to all of that. You can build out your own watch lists, PayPal, UNH, Adobe. You can add them up here. You can also delete them if you're not interested in having them in here. Time simulator, I'm still building that out, but that's pretty much just gonna be, how do I play back? Okay, we have bad sentiment in a stock now. What do I expect it to be in the future? How is the sentiment trend? Where is it heading? What is the turnaround play? How long can I pretty much just expect it to take based on previous results? So everything gets tracked, everything gets stored. We can play back everything back in time, so we can see how previous stocks were actually developing, how it was going when the sentiment was either good or bad. So you can pretty much just replay any scenario. All other tools, like, they pretty much just replay, not even fundamental. Haven't seen tools out there replaying fundamentals, or how are fundamentals changing over time and how did it affect the stock price, but also just how could we go back and actually use that previous historical information. Again, the history is not really, like, you can't base the future on the history, but you can definitely spot patterns there. Could also just be a tool to give yourself more confidence, exactly the same as I have down here in the research. So figuring out how long will it take for the stocks to get back again. Because when you buy positions which are down very bad, like 60, 70, 80%, they're the most hated companies out there. They pop 20, 30%, and you pretty much just sell out of your position. So you're taking all the steps down, 20, 30%, you're down because the stocks are just crashing. Then it goes up 30%, you break even, and then you sell out in 2 months' time. If you didn't have a tool that can say that these turnaround plays here, like, it's gonna go up and down while it's turning around, but you really just have to keep the stocks, because usually it takes 8 to 12 months for the companies to really maximize their returns after they had bad sentiment. Because all this is human psychology, it needs to change. It doesn't change overnight. Like, sentiment doesn't change overnight, it changes over time. That's one of the most important aspects with the systems that I have built. So that's going to go into the time simulator, and also with the research tool. I'm still building these two here out, because this is really hardcore and it needs to be very, very specific and detailed to be able to provide any value. So if we click on one of the stocks, it's pretty much just going to pull up this full analysis for each stock. It gets processed pretty much just daily, all the results of the sentiment. We can track that over time, all the valuations, all the fundamentals and all that. So this is one of the most important aspects, is not only to get a quick overview now, but historically over time. Because when we make these decisions, like, it's going to be on a monthly basis. Even sometimes I'm looking at monthly charts, because this is for long-term investments. This is not for quick trading, swing trading, maybe swing trading, but not like day trading and all that. You can't really get much value out from that. But we have the stock price here. So for example, we can see PayPal, we can see the stock price over time. It's pretty much just down. A lot of people, they call it PayPal right now, and have been doing that for a long time. So that definitely tells us something about the sentiment being negative. It says here that it's pretty undervalued compared to the valuation. And when we do the valuation, it's the historical valuation with respect to its own stock, but also with respect to the market and the specific sector that it's in. But a very important point here is that it is respect to its own fundamentals and valuations over time, so we can see historically where is it and is it undervalued compared to itself. So then we pull all different sentiment themes here. So we can see here 15 February, PayPal breaking down hard, competition killing it, stay away. We can see some for Q4 earnings miss expectations, stocks going down to 40, questioning that, bullish on PayPal long term, Venmo growth underrated. So these are some pretty valid concerns. It's going to have a disconnect analysis, and these are the key highlights that it's going to take. This is just the top ones, so it's going to pretty much just take all the posts available out there for the different days and do the sentiment analysis, and then it's going to summarize it, take the most influential post and put them in here. So this sentiment score is not only based on these, but it's pretty much just based on all the posts on X for that given day, and this is over time. So this is pretty much everything. We also have a disconnect analysis down here. So there's some key factors. Forward PE is 50% lower versus the sector. We have low PEG ratio. RSI oversold like 12.8 in RSI. That's probably the most crazy RSI value I have ever seen in my life. Usually say if it's under 30, it is oversold. And it's very rarely, unless there's like a huge market crash, that it gets so low. So it might have an opportunity here in PayPal. And again, this is not buying opportunity, this is not buy signals, it's not sell signals. This is just indicators that we can use as a research tool to spot stocks. We can spot what might be undervalued positions. Where can we do a swing trading? We can also use the tool to find day trading opportunities, because when we can see here, sentiment is very bad, RSI is very oversold. Maybe we can do a quick swing trade or some day trades around PayPal, because it's probably going to have very high fluctuations. Then we can take a look at the sentiment. So it's building the sentiment here out over time, and we can see how it's developing. We can see the sentiment breakdown over time. So if it's more red or more green, so this is pretty much just the system that I'm building out now. This is based on the sentiment. We have the key themes. So competition from fintechs, earnings disappointment, technical breakdown, Venmo growth, buyback skepticism, overall sentiment on PayPal is bearish, driven by ongoing competition worries and weak technicals, despite minor bullish notes on core products. So this is very, very valuable information, and if we go inside the fundamentals, that's even more valuable. I have some box here that I need to sort, like these bars here. They should be a bit wider. They should not have as many key points as the chart data here, but I probably just need to figure that out. Then we can have the left axis, we can have the right axis, so you can build out your own charts pretty much, so you can see the comparison, so you can see the earnings per share. The stock price is going down, but the earnings per share is going up. And one thing is for sure, you can see the free cash flow per share is dropping a bit here, but generally it is going up, and the stock price is like almost at the exact same point as it was around when it IPO'd, or around at least 2017. So it might be undervalued. At least we can look more into it. We can see the profit margins. We can see PE ratio. This is a crazy PE ratio. Usually the sector has a PE ratio of 15, and then we have minus 50%. So even just getting back to the industry standard for PayPal, the stock price can easily double. We have the forward PE as well. The PE ratio for PE is pretty much similar. That means that they're not really going to grow. The PEG ratio is very low, below 1. Usually they have very good growth, or at least the price that you pay for the growth is very low. We have some other stuff here. Then you can see the quarterly earnings per share versus estimates. So we see that they missed estimates here just a few days ago. And then we can see the overall trend. So it's pretty much just going up here. But again, remember, the stock price is all the way back to 2017. So that's 1.91 in earnings per share. And now we have 5.3 in earnings per share. So it's pretty much a 2.5x the money that they make per share, and the stock price is the exact same. So we're starting to see some patterns here. Maybe PayPal is good buying opportunity. We have a good risk reward. It might not turn out to be the best play, but if we play a system, you will never be 100% accurate. You should never aim at being 100% accurate. You should aim at having a good risk reward ratio and then play the long game. Stay in the game, invest for the long term, and if you get 10 of these opportunities here, I promise you, you're definitely going to make a lot of money. Because when these stocks turn around, maybe PayPal can go down 10, 20% more, but if it can also go up 100%, then you suddenly have a risk-reward ratio of 5. That means you just have to get more than 20% of your bets or investments correct, and then you start to make money. So if you can just have a win ratio of 50%, and you can find these very big disconnects and undervalued positions, then you're pretty much just going to print money. So we can see the trends on a quarterly basis. We can see the trend on an annual basis. It's looking pretty good. They're guiding for pretty much no revenue growth next year, but they could re-accelerate and probably has to, but it's still a very undervalued position. Another thing that I really like to look at, and again, I've just built out all these graphs here specifically for what I'm looking at. This is also pretty much what the industry is looking at, and then I've just tied it with the fundamentals and also the sentiment around it, because this is very, very important. Like you can look at this company here, and then you can look at what is the sentiment. If the sentiment is good here, and the PE ratio and all that is good, it might not be a good opportunity because people are not really skeptical. They think the company is doing good. If it had good sentiment, it would probably not be at this price here, because you really need bad sentiment to get really, really good opportunities. For example, another company is Palantir. Like it's up so much now. The sentiment around it is that it just keeps going up and up and up, even if it has a 4 PE or like a PE ratio of 400 or something like that. It's still a very great company. It will still definitely grow in the future, but what matters is what price you pay. Because when you just take the next 3 to 5 years, either the revenue and the money they make on the bottom line has to accelerate like crazy, like never before pretty much, or else the stock price have to come down. So there's these two options, and you don't really have a good risk reward ratio in that situation because the sentiment is at sky high, the valuation is sky high, the fundamentals is also sky high, the company is doing like crazy good. But when we have all these three here at max greed, then it's pretty much not a good buying opportunity. So this is also just what the system is showing. We have the annual revenue, margin trends. So is the margin trends going up as well? This is pretty much stable, maybe going down a little. But one of the most important things to look at is the shares outstanding over time. And this one here, a lot of people is missing this. This is excluding the stock-based compensation. So when you work for a company, you get stocks. If you're a software engineer working for PayPal, you get stocks as compensation as well. So they're pretty much just diluting shareholders every year by providing stocks to the shareholders. But we can still see that the number of outstanding shares for PayPal is going down pretty heavily, and this is around 7%, taking stock-based compensation into account. So that means if they keep doing like this, with the relative difference in shares, they pretty much just bought the company back in 12 to 15 years with their own cash. So they're doing aggressive buybacks, like really aggressive buybacks here, and that's gonna increase the free cash flow per share. They don't have to make as much money because they're buying back stocks, so the free cash flow per share is automatically going to increase. And one thing is for sure, and the stocks and the price always follows and tracks free cash flow per share over time. That's for sure. It could go down. It could go down for 6 months. It could go down for 1 year. It could go down for 2 years. Exactly the same as PayPal here. But in the long run, the price follows and tracks free cash flow per share. So if you have free cash flow per share going up and you have the stock price going down, you're pretty much just getting a disconnect. So you have the fundamentals going up. You have the stock price going down. The more stock price go down, the more fundamentals go up, the larger the gap will be in between, and this is the disconnect that we're trying to find. Additional metrics, earnings per share, dividend yield, they have a small dividend as well. So this is pretty much just all details that we cover. I built out some valuations here. It's not 100% done. This is just recently, the last few days that I've been working on this, but it's just the P ratio versus the sector, forward PE, PEG ratio, some of these different valuation metrics, and then you can visualize it here with the trends over time. So I need to process further back because it doesn't really make sense to look at it in 2 weeks. You need to look at it for months and years. So how is the forward PE going down? Is this at an all-time low forward PE? We have some technicals here, stock price again. We have the historical trends for the different days. So over time, this graph here is going to look much better when I process even more data back in time, because I really need to just be certain that I have the correct algorithms, the stocks looking good, all the metrics that I'm calculating, all the endpoints, everything that just needs to be perfect for my system, and then I'm going to reprocess all the way back in time as well. It's going to have earnings calls as well. So I'm still working on this one here. I have an API that can pretty much just do transcriptions of all earning calls for each quarter. Then it's going to feed it into an AI agent. It's going to summarize it, come up with the main bullet points. And if we go back to the most important thing again, that's tracking it over time. So instead of if you just listen to one earnings call, you're not really going to get like too much value out from that. You need to follow a company over time, listen to the earnings calls multiple times, multiple different earnings calls, so you can track what they're saying over time, what bullet points are the companies working on, what are the struggles that they're trying to navigate around, and then we pretty much just need to have a graph tracking the trend of these things that they're working on. Are they just jumping in all different directions? What are they saying on the earnings calls? Is it the same direction that they're going? Is it the same vision that they're going? So we can spot a lot of valuable information in earnings calls, but you can't go through earnings calls for 10, 20, 100 companies at one time unless you're like a full-time investor only doing that. So we have an AI agent pretty much just going through all that, summarizing it, throwing it into the overview tab, and also in here. So that's going to be a very, very awesome feature that I'm building out, like pretty much as we speak. It's probably running in the background still. So I think that's pretty much covering like most of the things here. We're going to cover it way more details. Like some of these things, I'm still building it out. So this is pretty cool. I'm definitely going to cover this way more in this video. I just explained like the full system. What is my thought process around it? You guys can learn a lot from that too. So how we're building systems, because with my template from our AI career program, like I have the AI career program where I teach people how to stand out in software, how to stand out in AI, build their own personal brands, like all these different tutorials, like how to write a for loop, how to train a YOLO model, do update detection and all that. Like you can just have large language models and agentic coding doing it. It's much more about how you're branding yourself, how you're getting opportunities, how you're 10xing your work, how you're utilizing all these different tools, agentic coding and so on. So that's what I teach in my AI career program. And I've also decided to make this template here available so everyone out there can build software systems like this. I even have like API keys here, so you can spin up different API keys. Everything is API based, so I can integrate this with any system out there. I can just create a new API key pretty much as any other software system out there that you have seen. So you can have the exact same setup as I have, deploy it all. We're going to take a look at the VPS. I'm going to show you how we can deploy it, set up all steps. I'm going to show you every single step, but I'm also going to provide the template that you can use out of the box and just build these systems on top. So it could be that I want to like build a project management tool. Then I'll just take the template, ask Claude Code, build out this project management tool. I'll give it all the specifications and all that, because this is where the actual value is when we're building systems in the AI world and this vibe coding world. Because having user login and all that, it's necessary. It takes a long time to get right. All the user permissions, Stripe integrations, making sure upgrade, downgrade, all these different, like it ties to the user, all of these things are saved to the database. It's just fundamentals, but it takes a long time to set up, test and all that. So if you have to have all these functionality before you can go live with your app, it will take you a few weeks just to set up the template. Even if you're a very, very experienced developer, and again, you would have no clue, you would have no chance if you haven't done any development before, but with the template, you can use it out of the box. Anyone can use it. If you have never coded before, you can use the template, set up your API keys, hit Claude Code, tell it what to implement, and you're going to have the exact same structure as me here, and all the basic fundamental software architecture is going to be there under the hood. Because in the AI world, this is very, very important to think about. Like you have to stand out, and you have to think about how can you 10x your efficiency, but how do you provide the value? Because as I mentioned, like the login system, the API key, the backend, the database and all that, it doesn't provide the value. The value is what the user can use, what is making them more efficient, what software is making them make better decisions, what is helping them make automated workflows. This is the actual value that you should focus on. You should not focus on the settings. You should not focus on the different tiers, the pricing, the landing page. Of course, landing page when you want to sell the system, but you can have it out of the box. And the landing page, it doesn't really matter if you don't have a good system behind the hood. Nobody's gonna pay for it. This is very important points, like really just go through it, think about it. This is a bit longer video, but I want to cover all details about the system, how I'm thinking, where it is heading, because one thing is for sure, it is going in this direction, and you need to be able to provide value. Like I'm seeing a lot of people, they can't get any jobs out there. People are hiring developers. People are hiring developers, but not as many as before. And you really just need to be this 10x vibe coding, like AI agentic coder, not just vibe coding all different stuff that is not gonna work. Again, if you just vibe code it, you don't have any experience, like the only one the system works for is yourself. So you need to know tech, you need to know software, so all the juniors and all that, like there's no reason to hire juniors pretty much anymore. Like you can maybe have like big enterprise systems and all that, but you need smaller teams, product engineers, like people understanding products, people understanding how to build products and find use cases, find problems to solve, and then it's just all about articulating it, giving the large language models, giving the AI agents the context, and they're gonna build it out for you. This is very important to think about. Hope you learned a ton of this video here, guys. Go through it again. We're going to cover it way more in the future in more videos. Stay tuned. Let me know down in the comments. Like, go and test out the system here. Play around with it. Like, spam all the buttons. Do anything. If you find any bugs or anything, drop an email. Drop me on LinkedIn. Drop it down in the comment section. Would love to get your feedback because I'm building the system for you guys as well. But most importantly, I'm building something that's very valuable for myself to make good investment decisions and pretty much just help me out in my daily life, because I'm spending a lot of time just scrolling X, finding sentiment of different stocks, finding opportunities, and this tool helped me save a ton of time. Hope you learned a ton. Make sure check it out, and I hope to see you guys in one of the upcoming videos. Until then, happy learning.